Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So today we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm trying to hide. Yeah, in one position of this camera, they will see me. When this camera is on. When this camera is on, they only see you. So that's the idea. That's the idea. Oh boy, it did take out.
There's also a camera there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one is only for you. It's only for you. So please be careful. Don't fall asleep on the class because everybody can see you and they don't see me. It's. But I know, the camera was designed here. I just feel very uncomfortable when somebody goes behind my back when I give a class because I have my notes here and it's like, oh my God, they're gonna look at what I see. So it's like, that's only the reason. Please forgive me for being so. It's actually quite stubborn. I did it already 3 times. I'm sitting here. And every time I do this, like somebody says, "Can you move forward, bro?" And I feel so uncomfortable when somebody is behind me. And I'm sorry, please forgive me. And I hope I don't disqualify myself by saying things like this. But it's just much more comfortable when behind where you sit, you have a wall and not too many people walking behind. Usually Vyasasana actually behind, against the wall, usually. There is even a letter from Prabhupada saying that in every temple there should be on one side the altar and on another side should be Vyasasana for speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. It was like in the 60s, actually. So we will read together the amazing verse, which is actually in both. It's in Bengali and in Sanskrit. It's unusual because all the words here are the names of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. Maybe ladies want to go first, no? Or anybody else? You want to go and read it? It's verse number 69.
Mahabhava Swarupa Shri Radhadesh.
Mahabhava Swarupa Shri Radhadesh.
Sarvagunakani Krishna Kanta Shiromani.
Sarvagunakani Krishna Kanta Shiromani. Mahabhava Swarupa Shri Radhadesh. Sarvagunakani Krishna Kanta Shiromani. Prabhu's, I can do it as well. Mahabhava Swarupa Shri Radhadesh. Mahabhava Swarupa Shri Radhadesh. Sarvagunakani Krishna Kanta Shiromani. Sarvagunakani Krishna Kanta Shiromani. Do you want to try?
Mahabhava Swarupa Shri Radhadesh.
Mahabhava Swarupa Shri Radhadesh. Mahabhava Swarupa Shri Radhadesh. Sarvagunakani Krishna Kanta Shiromani. Sarvagunakani Krishna Kanta Shiromani.
Mahabhava Sarupa Sri Radha Thakurani.
Mahabhava Surupa Shri Radha Thakurani. Sarvagunakani Krishna Kanta Shiromani. Mahabhava of Mahabhava. Svarupa, the form. Shri Radha Thakurani. Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. Sarvaguna, of all good qualities. Kani, mine. Krishna, Kanta, of the lovers of Krishna. Shiromani, crown jewel. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Shri Radha Thakurani is the embodiment of mahabhava. She is the repository of all good qualities and a crest jewel among all the lovely consorts of Lord Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. I will very slowly read it. Really, like very, very slowly. The unadulterated action of the Hladini Shakti is displayed in the dealings of the damsels of Raja and Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, who is the topmost participant in that transcendental group. The essence of the Hladini Shakti is love of Godhead. And the essence of love of Godhead is bhava, or transcendental sentiment. And the highest pitch of that bhava is called mahabhava. Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī is the personified embodiment of these three aspects of transcendental consciousness. She is, therefore, the highest principle in love of Godhead and is the supreme lovable object of Sri Krishna. Jai Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī ki jai. The purport of this verse very closely reflects the previous verse. This is verse number 69, and the previous verse was 68. Hladini sara prema, prema sara bhava, bhavere paramakashta nama mahabhava. So those three things are described. Prema, bhava, and mahabhava. And Prabhupada translates them. Prema, he translates here as love of Godhead. And then he says, the essence of love of Godhead is bhava, or transcendental sentiment. And the highest pitch of that bhava is called mahabhava. So those three things are mentioned in a purport. And it says that Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī is the personified embodiment of these three aspects of transcendental consciousness. It's such an advanced topic, and it's very humbling for me to speak in front of such an advanced devotees. And I want to apologize if I say something which is not right. Please forgive me. But it is very important subject. Specifically, it is important, and here I'm pulling a leg a little bit. It's quite important for preaching. And you will say, what it has to do with preaching, isn't it? So I will give you an example. Yesterday I met a very nice couple of Indians who came here to the holy place of Radhadesh, and I asked them, are you first time here? So the man has said, yeah, I'm first time. And then the lady, very nice, very Brahminically looking Indian couple, and she said, no, I am second time. And then she starts telling me the story. First time, sorry?
What did you ask him?
Are you first time?
Oh, yeah.
Are you first time?
Yeah.
Okay. So she said, I am a second time here. And then she starts explaining that first time she came here, and she goes very straightforward, very, very open about it. She said, first time I came here because I was praying to here. I was praying here because I wanted to marry him. And now I brought him. And I felt, oh, that's good. So it's probably not your last time that you're coming here. That's what I thought. I didn't say that. So they came for Rajboga Arati. And it's wonderful that people come here and just by praying to the Lord, their material desires are fulfilled. Isn't it wonderful? It's actually very encouraging because it's a pious couple. Well, I don't know, maybe somewhere in the Middle Ages of India that would be considered not quite proper for a lady to have a particular husband in mind and pray for this particular husband to the Lord. Maybe somebody in a very conservative, Brahminical society will say that it's not proper for a lady to choose her husband. But it's very sweet that they came and they prayed to the Lord together now. They're already married. And I asked him, so you're coming here, no children yet? And he was smiling, no, not children yet. So it's wonderful. It's actually described in the Vedas as the goal of life. There are 4 purusharthas, and one of them is kama, isn't it? Kama, artha. If you proper in your kama, then you'll have artha, you have economic development, and then you will fulfill all the requirements of dharma. And it is a goal of life to be perfect in fulfilling the requirements of dharma. But even higher than that is moksha. And the moksha is something I didn't want to preach to those young Indians about. It's time to think about moksha. You just got married. You will not think about moksha when you got married. But it is the goal of life. It's one of the 4 purusharthas. Purushartha, meaning 4 goal of lives, literally. Purush, man, artha, goal. So 4 goals, purusharthas. And yet, none of these purusharthas are the goal of our sadhana. What we do here in Radhadesh and what we preach here in Radhadesh, none of this is aimed on any of these. It's not the goal. So somebody may say, okay, of course, we know what the goal is. And there's even a song by Mangalananda, going back to Godhead. Isn't it the goal to go back to Godhead? What would you say that it's a goal? I'm sorry, I'm putting you on a spotlight. I did. Okay, let's ask. Isn't it a goal to go back to Godhead? I think yes, it is. And what's the difference between that goal and liberation? Sorry? Is that? So you go back to Godhead, or you go back to spiritual world. Isn't it as a liberation? It's a type of liberation. Okay. And here we come to a very confusing and for some devotees never resolved issue. They actually think that our goal is a type of liberation. And I'm not putting you on the spot. It's actually a very confusing point. And some devotees, and I know very senior devotees, who would say, okay, it's time to get out. It's time to go back to Godhead. But there is an obvious question you could ask yourself. If you go back to Godhead, and many went back to Godhead, what are you going to do there? I know when you join Radhadesh temple, then everybody asks, so what's your service, Prabhu? What will be your service? I know you probably brought like the biggest tour from Romania of all the yogis, and you brought them here and you preached to them. It's wonderful service, isn't it? But if you go back to Godhead and you have no service, what would you do there? It's a serious question. You know, what is your service when you go back to God? Of course, anybody who is on the altar serving Shri Radha Gopinath, they already know what their service will be when they go back to Godhead. It's the same service they do here. There's no difference. They will offer bhoga, they will offer them chamara, they will offer them fan made from peacock, transcendental peacock. How is it called? Peacock tail? Or it's not tail, it's... What? Yak tail, yes, that's right, chamara. And the peacock fan feathers, that's right, peacock feathers. Yeah, so, I mean, the service remains the same if you're on the altar, if you have that understanding. That's exactly the same service that you would do in the spiritual world. But that's not the main goal for us. And that's a confusing issue because going back to Godhead includes very important ingredient. For those who are just suffering in the material world, they think going back to Godhead means to get out of this suffering. Isn't it? You know, go back to Godhead. Finally, no suffering. It's not actually the goal of bhakti. To get out of suffering. It's the first symptom of bhakti. You know, when you just start chanting Hare Krishna, you know, Kleshagni, you know, you get that goal already accomplished. It's already done. You know, sufferings are removed, more or less. But the real goal of bhakti is attaining prema bhakti. This is the goal. Prema is the goal. So when you do sadhana, and depends on what sadhana you do, but if you do sadhana following Srila Prabhupada's instructions, you do certain things, your aim is to attain prema, not just to get out. Because there are several verses, and very, very prominent in Bhagavatam, that describe that devotee doesn't strive for liberation. And even if liberation is offered directly by the Lord, and it's very tempting, isn't it? You know, Lord offers you liberation. And it didn't say sayuja, but it talks about other types of liberation. Salokya, sarupya, etc. even if this kind of liberation is offered by the Lord, devotee rejects it. Why is he rejecting the liberation that's offered by the Lord? Why would you reject anything that's offered by the Lord? Why? That's a valid question. Why would you reject something that's offered to the Lord by the Lord? And it's a nice thing. Liberation is a nice thing, isn't it? It's definitely one of the 4 Purusharthas. It's the best one. So why would you reject something that is given directly by the Lord? Because your goal is different. You don't want to have the same form as the Lord, or same planet as the Lord. You don't want to have the same wealth of the Lord, or you don't want to merge into the body of the Lord. You don't want any of this. You want one thing, and that's prema, bhakti. This is the goal. Somebody told you, no, just forget about prema, just at least get out of here. It's an honest assessment of our situation. But if you get out of here and you didn't develop prema, there is every chance that your desires for something else will bring you back here. And then you will suffer because you didn't attain prema. But if you attain prema, and that's an amazing thing, if you attain prema, even while in this material world, you are not anymore in this material world. Can you imagine being in this material world and not being in the material world? That's what it is, serving Radha Gopinath here on the altar. Being in the material world and using every single ingredient that you get, flowers and more flowers. What do you have? Oh, the wigs, the ghee wigs and the milk and all the sweets you offer to the Lord. They're not any more material. Nothing that you do for the Lord is material. You offer them everything that is spiritual. You are in the spiritual world. The service is already in the spiritual world. Of course, it depends on your consciousness, and I don't want to go there. But the principle is there. The principle is there that there you already attained the goal. And of course, there are the gradations of how much you did attain that goal. Somebody may be just a beginner, a neophyte, and somebody could be a very advanced devotee. Sadhana, in a sense, is the same as sadhya. The path leading to attaining prema is also same nectar, but there are gradations there. In the beginning, you do bhajana, kriya, and you do things. You just kriya, you just do things. But then, as a result of that, so much impurities are removed, and then you actually experience something real. It's actually, by process itself, you clear it. And finally you come to the stage of bhava. And this is very important for you, Giriva Prabhu. There are two different bhavas. Can you imagine? It's very confusing. You come to the point of bhava, which is same as prema, but not yet prema. Bhava is a stage where you have a melted heart, but not quite. It's still hard. The mango is still not quite there. Did you ever try green mango? Anybody ate green mango? It's nice, isn't it? Sorry? You made chutney of green mango, yes. You can make pickle out of green mango. You can make so many things. You can make medicine out of green mango, and it's wonderful. But it's not the same as a ripe mango. So it's almost there, and sometimes it could be hard ripe mango. So that's bhava. But then when you come to prema, it's a super soft. The heart becomes super soft, and then you actually attain the goal. And once I sang some bhajan, I think it was Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, then Mataji Jaya Bhadra came to me and said, "You sang this bhajan, but you didn't give any translation." And I was like, what translation can you give to this bhajan? It's all the names of Krishna and all the names of the pastimes of the Lord. But today I also was singing a different bhajan. So it's a bhajan that Srila Prabhupada used to sing. And instead of translation of that bhajan, I will give you his explanation of this bhajan. This verse that we have here today is all names of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. And this bhajan is also same in principle. It's Rupa Goswami's song. And Prabhupada says, "So we shall await for the fortunate moment when we are liberated, then we should understand Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir." Because Krishna and Radha, they're not on the material field. And Prabhupada makes this expression, he does it a lot. He said, try to understand. This is Jiva Goswami's analysis that Krishna is the Supreme Brahman. The Supreme Brahman cannot accept anything material. So Radha is not in the material field. And Prabhupada gives an introduction before he sings this song. He says, now there is a very nice song. I shall sing if you can play on the harmonium. So he was on the Vyasasana and he was giving class and he didn't have harmonium. So he said, okay, if you can play harmonium. Yes, this is Rupa Goswami's song. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Damadararati Vardana Veshe Harini Skunda Vrinda Vipineshe. This song was sung by Rupa Goswami. It's an interesting remark that Prabhupada makes. He is a real person, actual person, to understand Radha and Krishna. So he says, all glories to Radharani. Radhe Jaya Jaya. Madhava Dayite. And he translates, what means Madhava Dayite? She is so dear to Krishna. Krishna. Everyone is trying to love Krishna. But Krishna, it's an interesting one, trying to love somebody. So how great she is. Just try to understand. Everyone, whole world, whole universe, all living entities, they're trying to love Krishna, Krishna prema. But whom does Krishna want to love? Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. Lord Chaitanya describes prema pumartha mahan. That means the prema is the goal of life. And Rupa Goswami described that. You are distributing Krishna prema. Krishna prema pradayate. So Krishna prema is so valuable, but Krishna is after Radharani. Just see how Radharani is great. Just try to understand the greatness of Radharani. Therefore, she's so great, and we have to offer our respect. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayite. How is she? Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Taruni. Taruni means young girls. You will see the pictures. They're all young girls. You have Lalita and Vishaka here on the altar. They're young girls. They're just there right next to Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. But of all the young girls, she is the most beautiful. She's enchanting young girls also. She's so beautiful. Go, and that's the meaning of this phrase. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Mahite, she attracts even young, all the young girls. They're attracted by her beauty. Damodara Rati Vardana Veshe. And she always dresses herself so nicely that Damodar, Krishna, becomes attracted by her beauty. That's what pujaris think every day when they dress Radha Gopinath. They think she is dressing herself so nicely that Damodar, Krishna, is attracted by her beauty. Harini skunda brinda vipinesha. And she is only a lovable object of Krishna. And she is the queen of Vrindavan. The queen, Prabhupada repeats it, the queen of Vrindavan. You will find, and that's an interesting phrase, I quote it quite a lot. You will find in Vrindavan, if you go to Vrindavan, everyone is worshipping Radharani. Rani means queen. So they always speaking, Jai Radhe, Radharani. And the devotees in Vrindavan, they are, therefore Prabhupada says, all the devotees in Vrindavan, they are worshippers of Radharani. Harini skunda vrinda vipineshe. Vrishubhano nandini nava sakileke. And she appeared as the daughter of King Vrishubhano and her companion Lalita Shaki and Vishaka Shaki and the devotees. So Prabhupada gives a spontaneous translation from Sanskrit. He just pours it out. And then he says a meaning of this prayer. He says, on behalf of the pure devotees of Krishna, Rupa Goswami is praying, Karunam Karunmai Karuna Bharite. O my worshipable Radharani, you are full of mercy. So I am begging of your mercy because you are so merciful. Very easily you bestow your mercy. So I am begging your mercy. Karunam Karunamayi Karuna Bharite. Sanaka Sanatana Varnite Charite. Now, Prabhupada gives us a very logical insight in this song. Somebody may say, oh, you're so great, learned scholars, you're such a great saintly person, and you are begging mercy from an ordinary girl? How is that? Therefore, Rupa Goswami says, oh, this is not ordinary girl. Sanaka Sanata Varnite Charite. This girl's description is possible to be made by great saintly person like Sanatana. She is not ordinary. Meaning that Sanatana, they're praising and describing Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. They are praying to her, so it's obviously proper for us to approach her. So the lesson, Prabhupada says, is that we should not treat Radharani as ordinary girl or Krishna as ordinary man. They are the supreme absolute truth. But in the absolute truth, there is the pleasure potency, and that is exhibited in the dealings of Radha and Krishna. So what is that potency, pleasure potency? Prabhupada translates pleasure potency, it's a Hladini Shakti. Hladini Shakti, out of 3 Shaktis of the Absolute Truth. Actually, there are innumerable Shaktis, 3 main Shaktis, which correspond to Satchitananda, Sanvitsandini, and Hladini. So these Shaktis are the main Shaktis. They call the internal Svarupa Shakti of the Lord. And Hari Bhaktivilas describes that prema is the goal of life, and it is exemplified. Ananya mamata Vishnu mamata prema samputta, meaning this stage of love of Godhead, which is exemplified by Bhishma, Prahlad, Uddhava, Narada, is that stage, or exemplified or described by them, is that state where one has exclusive possessiveness of Lord Vishnu. It is a basic, bottom line description of prema. If you want to know if somebody has prema or not, it's very simple to describe. It's really actually simple. You don't need to measure his temperature, you don't need to go around checking what he eats. If he has the quality of mamata, if he thinks that Krishna is mine, not superficially, oh, it's my Krishna, but in a specifically difficult situation. For example, if there is a fire in a temple, which happens, yeah, what first thing you will think? I have to run away. So the first thing the person who has a mamata for the Lord and a deity is saying, my God, my Krishna is gonna burn. I have to save my Krishna. You don't think about yourself, you think about Krishna first. This is a simple thing. It's actually not a very, very high level. It's basically, mamata means Krishna is mine. Not I am Krishna's servant. Krishna is mine. I have to take care of Krishna. He depends on me. So it's actually mixed with internal potency. So the jiva thinks that the jiva possesses the Lord one way or another. So this possessiveness, exclusive possessiveness for Vishnu is prema. Now, but higher than this is when prema becomes more condensed. So this possessiveness, mamata, it's like the main core Svarupa Lakshanam of prema. But then it moves, and we're saying, okay, we achieved the goal, isn't it? Prema Bhakti, that's the goal. Yes, this is the goal. If you think that Krishna is yours, and you don't even identify yourself, I am not a servant of Krishna, Krishna is mine. He could be your son, he could be your object of worship, it could be your beloved, he could be your friend. But once you have that possessiveness, that means you achieve prema. But even there, the heart continues to melt. It's not the end of perfection, it's the beginning of it. First it's sneha, then the melting of the heart becomes so intense that you cannot stop thinking about Krishna. And it turns, and it's a feature that is very puzzling for those who are not devotees. It turns into mana. So prema, which condensed even more and became mana. What means mana? Remember? It actually means crookedness. It means you are not quite straightforward with the Lord. you are more... okay, the examples are given by the acharyas is 2 queens in Dwaraka. So there are 2 types of sneha, or melting of the heart. There's the Grihta smeha, and then there is Madhu smeha. Madhu is sweeter than Grihta. So there are two queens, Satyabhama and Rukmini. Now, Rukmini is the example of Grihta Sneha. So she will be very intensely absorbed in Krishna's personality, but there will be no crookedness. She will be completely straightforward in her intense love. But Satyabhama, she will have mana. So she would argue back and forth with Krishna. She would sometimes criticize him. She said, she will say things which are opposite to her love, to increase love. Which, in material world, there are so many perverted reflections of this. So many ways this can be shown in the material world. But in spiritual world, it's actually quite rare. It's an exclusive realm of those who are very close to Krishna. Sometimes they can criticize Krishna, and Krishna gets even more pleasure. And then the prema gets more and more condensed. More and more condensed, and pranaya is even more amazing, concentrated form of prema. And then the turning point of prema is when it comes to the stage of raga. Then at the stage of raga, if the mana, whenever you were arguing with the Lord, and Lord would take pleasure, at the stage of raga, even if Lord disappears from your sight, you lost Krishna. It will not discourage you, it will encourage you more. It will make you even more attached to the Lord, and Lord will be more attached to you. It transforms to anuraga, where vipralamba becomes the driving force of your love. I asked, what should I speak on this class? And somebody told me, speak about something more practical. All these Radha Krishna things are so impractical. But the truth is, if you don't understand this, what will you preach to people who come to Krishna? If you tell them, basics of dharma, artha, or moksha, and they come to the temple, and you give them these basics of dharma, art, four purusharthas, then the result of your preaching will be four purusharthas. People will come because they want to have liberation. People will come because they want to have proper Hindu dharma, or they want to have good artha, they want to donate something to the Lord, and then they will gain something because the Lord is always reciprocating for every donation. Or they come to the Lord to ask for kama, like this beautiful Indian Brahmini lady who figured out that if she prays to the Lord, and Lord will make her wish come true. But this is not the real reason for our preaching. None of this is real reason. If you do this, then there will be so many things happening, but there will be no devotees. There will be no new devotees will not come from this preaching. There will be nobody who will want to dedicate their lives for the propagation of the holy names of the Lord around. So you need to whatever preaching you do, to give people the purushartha part, the highest purushartha, real purushartha, the love of God. In whatever way you do it, in whichever way you do it, you have to give them the real goal. But these stages of prema, which are described in this verse, in a previous verse, are really important for us because they are descriptions of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī's mercy and her real Svarupa. If you understand that, and you give people even a glimpse of that, even a glimpse, not only Raga, Nuga, Bhakti, nothing else we don't give. No, you give them a glimpse of that. Same as Prabhupada did. He gave the whole purpose of prema bhakti sadhana to a very young devotees. And he would give it even to those who just came to the temple without contamination. That's really important. He gave them pure bhakti. And if you understand, at least theoretically, this realm of mahabhava, the highest perfection of the love of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, you will understand the reason why Lord Chaitanya appeared. You will understand the reason why he gave those instructions to Rupa Sanatana. And if you understand the reason behind his appearance, then you can give his mercy, which is the same mercy of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, same prema that she has, the mahabhava. And this mahabhava is distributed by, how is it distributed? Simply by chanting the holy name. It's her mantra. And chanting this holy name, understanding the subjects, will create an atmosphere where devotees who maybe never seen the Lord will understand that he is my Lord birth after birth. And by the mercy of Prabhupada and Guru Parampara and all the Vaishnavas, all the Guru, all devotees, those who are completely unqualified become qualified to receive this mercy by the mercy of the Parampara, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of Radharani. They will get something that Krishna doesn't want to give. And you'll think, why is Krishna doesn't want to give Krishna prema? Isn't it? It's weird. Krishna is always wants to give us everything. No, he wants to give us liberation, actually. He said, okay, take liberation. Because if you don't take liberation, you may get Krishna prema. And if you get Krishna prema, and especially if you're serving directly Radharani or Lalita or Vishaka or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that our relationship will change. I will have to do what you say. You understand that Lord is reluctant to give something that will put him in a position of being controlled by his devotees. He is reluctant. But Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī is extremely merciful. She gives it, and she even pushes. That Prabhupada gives this example. She takes this gopi and says, Krishna, this is the gopi. And she is better than me. So please be with her. So this is the attitude of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. She takes unqualified and makes them into qualified. That's why we are not servants of Krishna. We actually don't, of course we're servants of Krishna, but we are actually servants of the servant of Krishna. We are servants of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. Because if she recommends us to Krishna, then every single thing will happen in our lives. And if we are super qualified and we consider ourselves to be servants of Krishna, nothing will happen, zero will happen, because we don't get the mercy of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. Don't think that Krishna is easy to approach, no. But through the Hladini Shakti, personification of Hladini Shakti, personification of mahabhava, he is accessible. And it's not my opinion, Vishwanath Chakravarti explains it. Ya Shriman Hladini Shaktir Suvilasa Priyavara. That's his commentary on Ujjvala Nilamani. He says that this amazing stage of love of Godhead, which is called Madana, is the best form of the manifestation of Hladini potency. This is the emotion and prema that no other living entity can experience. The Madana stage of prema, the highest stage of prema, was only exhibited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he came here. So this form of extreme form of mamata, extreme possessiveness of the Lord, complete control over the Lord, is only possible if you are approaching Lord through Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. Nobody else can get it. But the servants of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī can experience even higher level of emotion that she experiences. And Prabhupada gives this example in the very early book. It's one of the very early books that he dictated, 67, 68. I think it was published in 68, 69. It's Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya is the most nectarious book. If you want to give somebody one book that has everything, including the highest possible elements of bhakti and a very basic understanding, the Teachings of Lord Chaitanya is a perfect book. It was, for many, many years, was the best book for book distributors on the street. Just give them TLC. Some devotees even changed the name and they called it the Golden Avatar. Prabhupada said, no, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So that's a correct name. And there his example is given. Prabhupada gives this example of Tamal tree, who is Krishna. And the leaves on a Tamal tree are just like Radharani. So when Tamal tree is shaking, then the leaves on the tree are also experiencing motion. And in fact, the leaves on a tree are moving more than the branches of a tree itself. What it means that emotions of Krishna are great, but emotions and experiences of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī are even greater. That's the reason why Lord Chaitanya came. He came to experience the emotions of his devotee. Isn't it confirmed? It's a beautiful melody. But even higher than that, experience of the little vines that surround this Tamal tree. These little vines are the Manjaris and Sakis, who are supporting and enriching the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. They have no selfish motive. Their only motive to see Radha and Krishna together. And because of this lack of selfishness, they experience even greater bliss. The greater experience of the Shakti of Hladini Shakti, the internal potency, the sweetest and most accessible to Jivatma's part of the absolute truth. They experience higher pleasure. So this is the meaning of our kirtan. So when we do kirtan, the meaning of our kirtan is to experience that bliss. That's pretty simple. I don't know if it is easy to achieve, but it is the goal. Maybe you have any questions or difficult comments or something that you didn't agree with. I'm not prepared for this, but but if you do, please, Giriva Prabhu, maybe you have some subjective view on this. No? Okay, it's fine. I can finish early. That's absolutely no problem. Yeah. Oh yes, you have.
No, just in connection to this golden avatar that
Yes.
Prabhupada said, no, the name should remain Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So then they changed it again?
Yes, there was a period where teachings of Lord Chaitanya was named Golden Avatar, and it was sold like this with a cover, and it says Golden Avatar, and Prabhupada didn't approve of that actually. It was an initiative of a BBT, and Prabhupada changed it back. Yeah. So, in fact, it's interesting. I did a little research, and sometimes devotees overemphasize the golden age or golden avatar. Prabhupada only once in the whole of his lectures and letters he mentioned that Lord Chaitanya is the golden avatar. It's amazing actually, only once. It's not his main point. Every time you go and say golden avatar, and every time you say golden, he talks about the golden complexion of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, which is the same as Lord Chaitanya, but he hardly ever mentions that Lord Chaitanya is the golden avatar. I mean, of course, there was the whole golden avatar business running in the 70s, but that wasn't really Prabhupada's thing. I don't know why actually, but that's why I don't usually emphasize this aspect of he's the golden avatar.
Isn't it also in a song, or that they made a record?
Yes, the Golden Avatar Productions. Yes, there were lots of records in the Golden Avatar Productions. Yes, it's a name of the record label that devotees were using for. You see, I'll tell you this. Is it okay? If you have a question, just interrupt me. But the history of Sankirtan book distribution is like this. In the beginning, Prabhupada gave devotees the idea to distribute Back to Godhead magazines. They were writing themselves articles and selling Back to Godhead magazines on the street during Harinam for 25 cents. So that was the Sankirtan. And Prabhupada wanted books to be distributed, but it's hard to distribute books. So in many places, like in England and in the West Coast, devotees were making better money by selling records. The Beatles recorded in the Apple Studios. They recorded the Govindamadi Purusham album by Yamuna, and that was the best seller ever, oldest. And devotees were producing it here and there, selling it LP and short. This was like the main Sankirtan item. That's true. It was before Tripuraris and other parties started to compete. So the beginning of 70s, that's what devotees were selling. And later devotees switched to other things. But I don't want to go into that. But Prabhupada definitely wanted literature to be distributed, and he didn't mind really records, but it wasn't his kind of project. It was devotees who were trying to, and they called it Golden Avatar, which is very attractive for a record label name. And
yeah, we were selling like if you take this record and you give the book price, you get a very nice cadeau. You get a very nice present.
Yeah, that's like you buy 3 records and you get the book. That was in England, and that's just the truth. That mainly and it's actually a really big part of a preaching, major part of preaching that was happening, especially in England, was selling of records. Some records by the numbers were the best-selling records in the history of, if you count all the records that devotees sell, it's amazing amount of how many records are sold. Golden Avatar Productions. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Oh yes, you have a question. Sorry.
the same in spiritual world. What I doubt is like this is the highest service you can do.
Yes.
It's,
Assisting Lalita and Vishaka in this,
I
sir.
can't go on the altar because I have first initiation.
Oh yeah, first initiation. It should take second.
I can never reach, but I don't.
Yeah, well, the idea is that it's not that only pujaris do achieve that perfection, but it's the same service. It's basically the same service. You offer flowers to Krishna, you offer them a bouquet of flowers, you make them here and you make them there. It's the same service. Yeah, it doesn't mean that you cannot make a flower or you cannot make garlands for Krishna. You can. Of course you can make a garland, even if you're not initiated. You can make a garland for Krishna. It's the same service that you do in the spiritual world. That's all I was saying.
You say that everything,
I'm not excluding devotees.
everything that we do now, we will do in the spiritual world.
No, hopefully not everything, yeah. Yes.
The main
Yes. But the idea is that if you attain prema, then it doesn't matter where you are. You do the same service to the Lord. In material world, in hell, or in heaven, anywhere, the devotee will continue doing same service. There is no difference. Jananivas Prabhu asked Prabhupada once a difficult question. He heard it from advanced devotees that in order to go back to spiritual world, first you have to take birth in the family of the Braja Gopis. Then in the earthly Vrindavan, meaning somewhere where Krishna manifests his pastimes, you develop your relationship with Krishna and then you go back to the spiritual world. And he asked Prabhupada, is it true? He said, yes, it's true. But if you're serving the deities in this life, under the guidance of a pure devotee, you can go straight to the spiritual world. So, Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. You understand the principle that if you're already trained in doing the same things that you do in the spiritual world, then you go straight into the spiritual world.
But everything in the spiritual world is living, how we say it, is conscious or is even
Everything is conscious, yes. Everything is spiritual. Yes. In fact, everything on this altar is also. This altar is, nothing is material on this altar. Nothing. There's nothing material. Not a tulasi, not a bouquet. Everything is full of Satchitananda. It's actually made from Brahman. Only Kanishthadhikari will consider that things are material, or the deity is made from stone, or deity is made from brass. The siddhas see it as complete Brahman because it is Brahman. It's the same tattva, and fully engaged in the service of the Lord, it is the spiritual world. Yes. Anyway, thank you so much for the question. I already extended my lecture for too much, and please forgive me if I said something not right. Giriva Prabhu, thank you for your blessings. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantha Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai.